With the champion crowned, it's time for the offseason, guys. We got the relegation game here in this episode. I will be cutting up some highlight reels for you guys to take a look at that game. It's between the Kalamazoo Wings and the Niagara Ice Dogs. Both teams, 20 wins, man. The Wings with 20 wins, the Dogs with 21. It was a bad season. But this is how the XHL works, guys. We got two of the worst teams, one from the West, one from the East, having to take each other on in the relegation game. So I want to talk to you about how that game is going to work, how the offseason is going to work in the XHL, and then next Friday, we're going to come back here and I'm going to show you the results of everything that has gone on. But being you guys are new to this, and myself included, we've got to talk about how the offseason is going to work. That's just how we have to operate this. So let's get into it. After the relegation game is over, the losing team, so whether that be the Ice Dogs or the Wings, the losing team will lose any 6 players off their roster to free agency. The winning team will keep their roster intact. Now, every XHL custom team, so like the Brooklyn Dragons, the Seattle Nighthawks, the Houston Cosmos, these XHL custom teams, not real teams, they must cut one player between 70 to 75 overall. It can be anybody within that overall range to be in the expansion team draft. So if you do the math on this, if every XHL custom team has to cut one guy, there will be 12 players total in this season's expansion draft. Next season, there will be 13 because of the expansion team. They will therefore be a custom team. So the losing relegation team, having lost any 6 players, will basically have a fresh slate to choose from when scooping up players from the expansion draft. The winner of this game, they seem kind of punished, right? They seem a little bit punished for winning the game, right? So they're not getting better. Their roster's not getting better. The winner will also be allowed to take part in the expansion draft. So they'll be able to draft 6 new players as well. So really, when it all comes down to it, the purpose of the relegation game is to get rid of these real life teams and replace them with custom XHL teams that you and I, as the community and creator, can make with each other. So really, the purpose of the game is to punish the loser for having to relocate. But we do want to make sure that these teams get better over the course of time so that they're not just wallowing in bad hockey. All right, so the first 3 seasons, as far as free agency goes, every XHL custom team, not real teams, but custom teams, must cut one real-life player from their roster, which then this pool of players will be able to sign with any non-custom team. So any real team like Toledo, the Walleye, Utah Grizzlies, the Savannah Ghost Pirates, so on and so forth. And the reason for this is that we want to kind of balance the rest of the league out based on what I've seen from Season 1. A lot of the XHL custom teams like Brooklyn and Seattle, they were really good, and they dominated those ECHL and OHL squads. So by cutting one real-life player, that ensures that the custom players like JJ Broadway, Robert Borhoft, Nugmanov, Joel Kazmir, those guys get to stay on their roster without fearing that they're going to leave. They're going to get cut or something. So we're cutting one real-life player from an XHL custom team, and these guys will have to go into the pool for free agency for Toledo, Utah, Savannah, so on and so forth. This player being cut to free agency will be different than the player that was cut for the expansion draft, just as a little note. Both of these measures, for the expansion draft and for free agency, will help the non-custom teams be able to compete over time. Not necessarily in Season 2, but it's going to help them nonetheless. We're going to do this for 3 seasons, so we're going to have 3 go-arounds with this, and then hopefully by then we'll actually start getting some competitive balance happening inside the XHL. So Season 4's offseason will start a new free agency system in hopes that, again, the league becomes more balanced. Now, I haven't come up with a contract situation or like how long that these guys are going to be with their XHL teams and so on and so forth. So I haven't figured that out quite yet. Let's just see how it goes for the first 3 seasons, and then we'll go from there. Now, the caveat here is the XHL custom teams will not be involved in any free agency signings for the first 3 seasons, since they will be able to draft custom players. So the guys that they lose, they'll be able to replace basically within the draft. And, you know, let's face it, no viewer, none of you guys out there want to be drafted by Utah or Toledo and barely get seen. You guys want to go onto an XHL custom team. You guys want to go to Brooklyn. You guys want to go to Baltimore. You guys want to go to Richmond, so on and so forth. So, you know, there's really no point in allowing these custom players, these new rookies, to go to these other real-life teams. You guys don't want to be on there. You guys don't want to see it. So that's pretty much how free agency is going to work. That's how the relegation game is going to work here in the first 3 seasons. Again, in Season 4, we'll have to reassess, and we'll have to see how this is all going to work in the future. But now let's talk about progression and regression. So I'm going to automatically progress all non-custom players, so real-life players, by a +2 overall. This, again, is in order to help balance the league. So regardless if the player deserved it or not, since these guys are young and were basically thrown into the fire, so to speak, you would think some progression happened to them, right? This +2 overall is happening to all non-custom players, so all real-life people that are on non-custom XHL teams. So like Utah, Toledo, Savannah, these type of teams. XHL custom team players, these can be real and custom guys, who led their team in certain categories will also get boosts in those respective attributes. So example, if they were a team leader in shots on goal, that's going to equate to a boost in shot power or stick handling. If they led in goals, that would lead to shot accuracy, stick handling. Hits would be body checking and aggressiveness. For goalies, if you get a bunch of wins, if you were team leader in wins, you'd have an increase in poise in vision, for example. So given the boosts that we just talked about, players should only get a max of +1 in their overall change for being a team leader. At a macro level, if players were in the top 5 of league leaders in any of these categories, they'll receive an additional +1 overall change. If you were the league MVP, you will receive a +3 overall change in the categories of the attributes that I'm going to change for that player in order to get the +3. That'll be my discretion. It's, you know, if a guy's at a 99 offensive awareness, there's not really any room that I can improve him on, so I'll have to make the decision on what gets boosted up for that player. If you're the playoff MVP, you'll also get a +1 overall change. Theoretically, if a player meets all of the things that we just talked about, a +6 per season is possible to their overall rating. Not likely, but it is possible. Now, as far as regression goes, it's only going to happen for players over the age of 35, regardless of production. You could be a league leader in goals at 35 years old. I'm still going to find a way to regress you, and they're going to receive a -3 to their overall rating. I think this is a good thing for us because it's going to help move older players out of the league and allow custom players to kind of take over. Regression will also occur for any player whose stats dip from year to year. And we're actually tracking that. Me and my XHL team, we're tracking that via Google Sheets, and we will be looking at what they did in Season 1, Season 2, and from that point we'll have to figure out if they had a dip in production, they'll have to see a dip in their overall rating. Now, how hard that regression is going to hit, it depends on their production, of course. If you're going to score 50 goals in one season, then in Season 2 you had 20. If you played the same number of games as you did last season, that's grounds for regression, a pretty big regression, if I might add. But if you played like 30 games and scored 20 goals, and last season, in Season 1, you had 70 games played and 50 goals scored, there's really no way to know what you would have done had you played a full season, right? So that regression would be a little bit less. And again, we're keeping track of all these things via Google Sheets, so we're going to be able to have a historical record of what each and every player has done in the league. That way we can kind of figure what that progression or regression will be. So do you guys remember the XHL AllStar Game and how fun that was? Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So the Eastern All-Stars played against the Western All-Stars, right? West beat the East, and they got the right to take on an NHL team in a little friendly exhibition match. Well, the one thing about this little contest is that the NHL, the team that loses, right, they have to give up their best player. And the Arizona Coyotes, they lost to the Western All-Stars, and Clayton Keller gets to come on over now to the XHL. However, I'm going to throw in a little extra wrinkle about this little side contest that makes this XHL series so dang fun. The winning team being the Western All-Stars, the Western teams in the XHL get the shot at Clayton Keller. Not the Eastern teams, definitely not the OHL or the ECHL teams. We don't want to see that. We want to get them better, but we don't want to get them that good. The object is to get rid of those teams via expansion one day. But the Eastern teams, they didn't get a chance at Clayton Keller. The Western teams did. The Western All-Stars beat Arizona. So now they get a chance via wheel spin in order to grab Clayton Keller. So he could go to Tucson, he could go to Seattle, he could go to Kansas City, he could go to Dakota. That would be really good for Dakota. That they need an offensive weapon for sure. But that's kind of how that's going to work. I want to try it. I want to see how that's going to work, guys. And hopefully you guys are cool with that. And that'll be kind of fun. So that's pretty much going to do it for the episode. We do have the relegation game to talk about here, so I will see you guys in gameplay if you guys are interested in this. But that's how the offseason is going to work, guys. Let's get right into the relegation game, and I'll see you back here next Friday to finalize every single thing that happened inside the offseason, from progression to where free agents went, and if there were any trades that happened. Of course, the XHL team ambassadors get to vote on the trades, and I'm going to do these in private. So you guys out there that are not ambassadors, you have no idea what's coming, baby. So relegation game, here we come. All right, guys, let's get into this game. We got Niagara against the Kalamazoo Wings. Don't know who I like in this one because they're both bad, but this is going to be a very, very quick highlight reel. We have already got a goal up on the board here for Niagara. That is Castle. He's going to make his presence felt in this game, I can tell you that. Just a little spoiler right there for you. So 1-0 here. We're already in the second period, and we have another goal. How'd this go in? This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Take one more look at it on the GG9 replay. It bounced up. It actually bounced off of the top of the goalpost. So just really lucky bounce there for Kalamazoo. And then Niagara able to get another goal here. They're down 2-1 at this point. But Castle moving in, got a good look, got a good shot, and he's already got goal number 2 in this contest. So as we jump forward 2-2 in the third period, Kalamazoo's going to get a goal here from Bradford. Right in the middle, he had a really clean look, and the goaltender just let this one go by. Just not a good effort there, I don't think. It didn't really have that much oomph on it. I don't know why he couldn't stop it. But 3-2, Kalamazoo, that rhymes. Cato, the defenseman, weaving his way through traffic, going to tie this baby up, and we are done, guys, with the third period. So this game's going to overtime. Nobody can do anything in the latter half of the third. We've got a really good look right there for Kalamazoo, but goaltender makes a nice save. 3-on-3 action here in overtime, and we've got the Niagara Ice Dogs getting a nice shot there, and another save by Gorsuch. Oof. So overtime is over. We're going to a shootout. A shootout to determine who gets relegated. Who gets Thanos snapped, pretty much. Everything's on the line here, guys. The assistant captain, here comes Bradford, trying to get his team up by a goal here in the shootout. Nice save. It's always tough when you're in a shootout. Goaltender, one-on-one. Guy can make a ton of moves on you. You just got to stand tall back there. But another save here. Goaltender's looking good so far, but a great move by Iacopelli. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not going to spend enough time to look it up. You're not good. I'm not going to say that. He's probably going to come to my house and check me into the drywall. Niagara's actually going to run out of opportunities here. They're running out. Chances are dwindling here. Goaltender's got to stand tall on this one, or else it is game over. And that's a really good move. Really good move, but goalie did a great job. This is it for Niagara. They have to score right here. Castle has got 2 goals already in the game, but he can't put this one home, and Kalamazoo will stay in the XHL. They're winners here in the relegation game, and that means that the Niagara Ice Dogs are gone. It's been fun, but we barely knew ye. Congratulations to the Kalamazoo Wings. They will earn 6 more players to their roster. They don't have to cut anybody, but the Niagara Ice Dogs will have to cut 6 players to free agency. They will get 6 players back through the expansion draft, but the good thing about the Wings is that they can really kind of stand pat. They don't really have to lose anything. They'll just gain from the expansion draft. The Niagara Ice Dogs, you guys know the rules by now. The XHL custom teams will need to cut 1 player each, which means there will be 12 players from 70 to 75 overall inside the expansion draft. So the Wings and the Ice Dogs, or now the expansion team, will have to come up with a name a little bit later, as the XHL team ambassadors will be helping me put that together. But both these teams will go back and forth inside the expansion draft and picking those 12 players. They'll get 6 each, and we'll see where the chips fall, see who goes where. But, hey, congratulations to Kalamazoo. You keep your identity, and the punishment for Niagara is that they will have to relocate, and we'll have to find out where they're going to go. Could be a Canadian team. It has to be on the East Coast, or the Eastern region, since it was Niagara. Kalamazoo's out there in the west side. So Niagara, we'll see. Maybe a team in Toronto, maybe a team in Quebec, possibly a team out on the East Coast, maybe another New York team. I probably would not do that. I'd probably stick to maybe a Canadian team. We need a little more Canadian representation here, so it could happen. But guys, that's it for the XHL off-season preview video. Leave a like if you like this thing, and let me know in the comment section what city, what location you would like to be the expansion team. And I will see you guys back here next Friday for the results of free agency, the results of the expansion team voting, so on and so forth. So guys, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and peace.